It's time for a Christian book haul. Hello book lover, my name is Kay. Welcome to my channel where we usually like to talk about Christian fiction books. Today I have a hodgepodge of a book haul for you. I have a theological study type book, I have a journal, and then I have 4 Christian Christmas fiction books, and then I have just several other random fiction books. Most of these books I got from bookoutlet.com. If you've never shopped on there, you are absolutely missing out because they seriously have the best prices on the internet. A lot of times they beat Amazon. However, they don't have every single book that I'm always looking for, so I go on there when I'm just in the mood to buy some books that maybe I don't know everything about. Since switching to Christian fiction books, I have found a ton of the popular Christian fiction authors on there. Definitely check them out. I have a referral code in my bio if anybody wants to get $5 off their first order with them. They are amazing. First, let's jump into the more technical Bible study type of book. I recently was accepted into Crossway's book reviewer program, and they basically let me pick out any book that I wanted for review. So this is going to be kind of like a review for this book. I haven't read the whole thing because literally this thing is a chonker, but it's so good. So this is Essentials of Reformed Systematic Theology. Look how pretty. This is by Joel E. Beek, Paul M. Smalley, I think that's how you say it. Basically what this book is these gentlemen, they have this huge collection of systematic theology books. They have like several installments in the book collection. They wanted to create something that was a little bit easier for the casual or everyday Christian to read that maybe didn't go to theological seminary school or whatever type of Christian education you want to put in there. So they basically wanted to take the most popular things from their bigger collection, condense it down, and make it accessible for people like me to read and understand. So I have dug into this. I have several tabs in here. I went into different sections on topics that definitely just interested me, and I read through them, and I have started reading from the beginning of this, and I want to share something that I tabbed in here with you just because I think it might help you understand what you're going to get when you read this book. The word doctrine means teaching. Christian doctrine is the church's teaching based on the Bible, God's word. The term theology literally means words or speech about God, and thus it is the study of God and questions about the doctrines he has revealed. More specifically, Christian theology is a human description of the authoritative knowledge and wisdom that God has revealed in his word, so that we may know him and live unto him through Jesus Christ. Systematic theology answers the question, what does the whole Bible teach about each of its major topics and its relation to other topics? Louis Berkhoff said that systematic theology seeks to give a systematic presentation of all the doctrinal truths of the Christian religion. It builds in our minds a way of thinking in which each doctrine is clearly understood and rightly connected to other doctrines. So I could keep reading, but hopefully you can just see how they tried to simplify and how they're literally going back to like the basics of definitions of things, and they're going to build on that through this entire book. This has been a really interesting tool that I've been using, and I have loved it because I am somebody who's not afraid to ask hard questions when it comes to my faith, and this definitely has answers in it. Okay, let's get to the next non-novel, and then we'll get into the actual books. But this is something that Zondervan, how do you say that? Zondervan published, and that is called The Weekly Habits Project, a challenge to journal, reflect, and make tiny changes for big results. So this is literally a 52-week journal where you only fill out 1 page a week. So this is something that you can just do on like Sundays. Here is a little bit of what the contents look like. So each week you kind of get one topic. The first section is giving our thoughts to God. Then we have giving our feelings to God, giving our actions to God, being made whole in God. Every single week you're focusing on a different topic. This one, being made whole in God, it kind of looks like it's going through some of his attributes. Let me just show you what every week looks like. Here's an example of one of the weeks. It's literally just this and this. Very simple, easy thing to do once a week, so I plan to do this on Sundays. Week 6 is the point of purpose. You get a Bible verse, you get like a little devotional type thing, and then there are some questions for you to reflect on and answer. So it's a really short journal, but I thought it's something that just might be good to add into my routines because there are definitely habits that I for sure want to get rid of and new habits that I want to be building in my everyday life. Let's get into the Christmas books that I have. I have 4 of them. The first one I have that I'm going to talk about is The White Christmas Inn. This is the only book that I talked about Christmas-wise in my Christian Christmas fiction book video a few weeks ago. So many people had said in the comments that this is one of their all-time favorite Christmas books and they reread it. So I moved this one up on my priority list and I saw it on bookoutlet.com and I just had to buy it. This one is basically about, it's a New England inn around Christmas time and there are just lots of different people staying at the end, and then a snowstorm happens and they all get stuck at the end together. I don't really want to read too much about like what each person is going through that's stuck there, but it's supposed to be a heartwarming Christmas story where everybody just comes together, and there are faith threads through here, and I'm sure there are like friend and family threads through it too. I'm very excited to read The White Christmas Inn. This is by Colleen Wright, by the way. Colleen Wright. The next book that I have on the Christmas list is Meddling with Mistletoe by Liz Johnson. This is a Red Door Inn Christmas romance. This cover is so cute. I honestly love rom-coms at Christmas time. I know I've talked about recently how I felt a little iffy about rom-coms in general, so I'm just gonna go into these and see how I feel when I'm actually reading them, and then if I just get the ick, I'll stop reading them. But these are all Christian books, so they should all be good. Hopefully. So this says, the recipe for romance is simple: sweets, treats, and mistletoe meets. Whitney Garrett is preparing to enter culinary school in the spring, but first she has to sell enough homemade pies at the local Christmas markets to pay her tuition. When her oven breaks, Whitney asks Marie Sloan, owner of the Red Door Inn, if she can use the inn's kitchen to keep up with her orders. Marie agrees with a catch. Whitney has to watch the 3 Sloan children and cook breakfast for the Red Door in return. The inn is busy with holiday guests, including Aretha Franklin Sloan's nephew, Daniel and Ruby, a businesswoman in town to purchase Aretha's antique store. Intent on making a Christmas match for the two, Aretha enlists Whitney's help in her schemes, but the deeper Whitney gets, the more she realizes that Ruby is not the right woman for Daniel, and the more she thinks that she just might be his perfect match. The next one I have, I'm excited for because it is 3 short novellas, and I mean these have got to be short because this book is less than 300 pages, so I'm assuming they're all around 100 pages. So we've got Sheila Roberts, Kathleen Fuller, and Pepper Basham, and this is Mistletoe Season. So the reason I bought this is because I saw Pepper Basham, and you guys probably already know that I absolutely loved her book Sense and Suitability, so I'm really excited to read more by her. So as soon as I saw she was on a little novella list, I put it in the cart. I didn't even read what it was about, but it's 3 Christmas novellas, and they're titled Say No to Mistletoe by Sheila Roberts, Return to Mistletoe by Kathleen Fuller, and The Mistletoe Prince by Pepper Basham. Mistletoe is Haley Fairchild's kryptonite. Every time she's kissed someone under the mistletoe, it's led to love disaster. Not a good thing for a romance writer. And then we have Return to Mistletoe by Kathleen Fuller. Emmy Banks has always loved Christmas, but how could she not when she lives in Mistletoe, Missouri? Kieran O'Neill has spent years abroad renovating an old Irish castle, but returns to Mistletoe for his mother's 70th birthday. He reconnects with Emmy, his sister's close friend, and spends time with her in a charming antique shop. When the weather turns colder, things start to warm up between Emmy and Kieran. But can Emmy risk her heart when she knows he'll never stay in Mistletoe and she will never leave? Honestly though, girl, I'd be moving into the old Irish castle. I'd be leaving Mistletoe. The final one in here is The Mistletoe Prince by Pepper Basham. Prince Aran St. Clair has lost his freedom and fairy tale life in exchange for a 3-month punishment in the small town of Ransom, North Carolina. To prove he is ready for the royal life for which he was born, Aaron must engage in the Christmas charity fundraiser, the Mistletoe Wish. A man must face the mirror and find out who he is beyond the crown. Add a beautiful and intelligent woman, some mistletoe, and a little Christmas magic, and it all might be enough to help the rebel prince understand what truly matters. So there we go, mistletoe season. And the final one that I have here was actually sent to me by the author Lori Langdon. So Lori, thank you so much for sending this to me. This is her novella, Once Upon a Christmas Past. And so I have an author form in my description box. And if you're an author and you want me to read your book, you can fill out that form. But she had a few buzzwords on here that I was super interested in when she filled out the form. And one of the things she said is A Christmas Carol, which I read A Christmas Carol for the first time a few years ago and I absolutely loved it. By the way, if you have Audible, listen to the Hugh Grant version audiobook of A Christmas Carol because it is just top tier. But this is supposed to be the events that happen after A Christmas Carol and I just was so intrigued by that. So here we have the Cratchit family has come a long way since Ebenezer Scrooge's glorious transformation many Christmases past. None more so than Lucy Ann Raven Cratchit. Inspired by Tiny Tim's childhood illness and miraculous recovery, Raven is working to become London's first female physician, donating her time to those who cannot afford medical care. Britt Crane grew up fighting for his life in the slums of London, protecting his ragtag gang of orphan thieves until Olivia Twist Brownlow and Jack the Artful Dodger rescued them all, and Britt became a teacher in their new orphanage. When Britt discovers he is the rightful Earl of Wexford and stands to inherit a fortune if he marries by Christmas, he isn't all sure he wants the title or the money. That is, until a beautiful physician saves his life, and they form a bond that neither of them can deny. The catch? Dr. Raven Cratchit is engaged to Britt's conniving half-brother, the current illegitimate Earl of Wexford, who has no intention of losing the earldom or the girl to an upstart ex-thief. So we've got a lot going on there. Definitely sounds like there's gonna be some family drama, but also I'm just like super touched about her wanting to be one of the first female physicians. So I'm interested to see how that plays out in this story. It just sounds so fun for this time of year. So that is again Once Upon a Christmas Past by Lauren Langdon. Oh, and down here it says 3 meddling spirits, 2 star-crossed loves, and 1 epic Christmas miracle. Let's move on to the last few books that I have that are not Christmas novels. We literally have a mystery, we have a contemporary, a fantasy, and we have a rom-com. So literally there might be something here for everybody. So the first one is The Elusive Truth of Lily Temple by Joanna Davidson Politano. You guys have probably heard me talk about it more than enough times on this channel, but I read The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House by Joanna and I absolutely loved it. The writing was just some of the most poetic, beautiful writing that I've read out of a lot of Christian fiction authors, so I wanted to pick something else up by her, and somebody in the comment section told me that this was their favorite by her. In the search for truth, the line between fact and fiction is beginning to fall out of focus. It is 1903 and Lily Temple is a beautiful silent film actress who spins fairy tales and plays frivolous roles in front of the cine camera. But beneath the costumes and stage makeup is a woman with a quick wit, a murky past, and a tantalizing secret. As an underground investigator to the wealthy Peter Driscoll has been tasked with locating the legendary Briarwood teardrop, an exquisite sapphire that has been missing for years, and which Lily happens to be wearing beneath her gown. In order to stay close to her and unravel the mystery, Peter employs the enchanting actress's help on a case. So there we have it, The Elusive Truth of Lily Temple. The next book is, you guessed it, Pepper Basham, Some Like It Scott. Honestly, I don't know what this one is about. Again, I just saw Pepper Basham's name and this one is actually a full-blown novel, so I figured this will be the next title that I try by her. She lives her life on the fly. His heart is double knotted to home. Can 2 different souls create a life together? Popular travel writer and podcaster Katie Campbell roams the world collecting other people's stories. But she's built a career as Miss Adventure, known for saying yes to anything new, country, food, or experience. And predictably, finding those adventures taking a downward turn into misadventures. Offered the chance to explore her ancestral roots through a 3-week Edwardian experience, Kate finds herself immersed in the beauty and eccentricity of Scotland. In her period attire with traditional foods and activities, the opportunities for misadventures are endless, especially with the presence of a manacle McCall, a jealous co-worker, and an all too surely Scotsman. So I'll just stop there with this one. This just sounds so fun. We've got adventure, going to Scotland, and a lot of misadventures. The next one is Sarah Brunsvold. She wrote The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp, which is a super popular book in the Christian fiction world, and it is said to be a super big heart tugger. I have it on my shelf. I plan to read it in the spring, but I saw this on bookoutlet.com and I thought, why not? The Divine Proverb of Streusel. Also, can we talk about how cute this cover is? So if you're a baker, maybe this will be a good one for you. Shaken by her parents' divorce and discouraged by the growing chasm between herself and her serious boyfriend, Nikki Werner seeks solace at her uncle's farm in a small Missouri hamlet. She'll spend the summer there, picking up the pieces of her shattered present so she can plan a better future. But what awaits her at the ancestral farm is the past, one she barely knows. Among her late grandmother's belongings, Nikki finds an old notebook filled with handwritten German recipes and wise saying pulled from the book of Proverbs. With each recipe she makes, she invites locals to the family table to hear their stories about the town's history, her ancestors, and her estranged father. What started as a cathartic way to connect to her heritage soon becomes the means through which she learns how the woman before her endured with the help of her cooking prowess and a healthy dollop of faith. Honestly, I have goosebumps reading that description. Wow, that one sounds really good. It sounds like it'll be an impactful but also a hard-hitting story, especially when it's talking about her estranged father. Wow, okay, I'm really excited about this one. So, The Divine Proverb of Streusel. And here is the last but certainly not least book. This one was the only one I got from Amazon, and I think I pre-ordered this. I believe she's an indie author, and this is Alyssa J. Zevalin. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry. But this is The Chronicles of Kara on the Edge of the Forgotten Sea. And this cover is, again, so cute, so beautiful. Cursed by love, doomed never to speak. Cursed by memories, doomed always to forget. So I think this might be a Little Mermaid retelling. Do you think I'm like, am I being crazy? Maybe it's a Little Mermaid retelling. Just, we have the red hair and the back has the scene of them in the boat. Maybe. Let's read. After being left by her first love, Mary Caspiana has fallen for a commoner who lives by Carrilo Bay. The only problem is that she's bound by the sea. When she bargains with the sea, which for a pair of legs, okay, so it's totally Little Mermaid retelling. When she bargains with the sea witch for a pair of legs, it comes at a graver cost than she realizes. Just when she's learning how to walk, a terrible prophecy is brought to light. The Prince of Windkeep Kara is in grave danger, and to ensure his safety, all maidens must be sent away from the kingdom until the prince's 18th year has passed. So I'm just gonna stop there with this one, but it sounds like there's some high stakes, and if you like fairy tale retellings, you might definitely want to check this one out. If you made it this far in the video, please leave me a stack of books emoji for a book haul. If you're interested in any of these titles, let me know which one caught your attention the most. Thank you so much for watching this video. I so appreciate you being here. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That helps push out my content to other Christians looking for God-honoring books. I hope you have the absolute best week ever, and I will see you next time. Bye!